On a sunny winter day, July 29th, 2023, Erin Patterson prepared a meal for her in-laws. She lived in Leongatha, a quiet town in Victoria, Australia. The gathering was small. Her former in-laws, Don and Gail Patterson, and Gail's sister, Heather Wilkinson, came to her home for lunch. The menu was simple: beef Wellington, a savory pie filled with meat and pastry. Erin was known to be a good cook, and her guests looked forward to enjoying her food. However, none of them knew that this meal would be their last. Hours after lunch, all three guests fell violently ill. They were rushed to the hospital, their bodies racked with an unknown ailment. Don and Gail Patterson and Heather Wilkinson succumbed to their illnesses and passed away. The small town of Leongatha was in shock. News of the deaths traveled quickly through Leongatha and beyond, leaving a trail of bewilderment and fear. The police launched an investigation immediately, seeking answers in the remnants of the meal. Their investigation soon revealed a horrifying truth. The beef Wellington was laced with deathcap mushrooms, a particularly lethal variety of fungi. Deathcap mushrooms are notoriously difficult to distinguish from edible varieties, even for experienced foragers. They contain a toxin so potent that even a small amount can be fatal. The discovery of the deathcap mushrooms in the beef Wellington immediately shifted the focus of the investigation onto Erin Patterson. She had prepared the meal and purchased the mushrooms. The idyllic town of Leongatha held its breath, waiting for answers. The investigation culminated in a trial that would grip the nation. Erin Patterson was charged with 3 counts of murder and 1 count of attempted murder. The fourth diner, Heather Wilkinson's husband, Ian, had also fallen ill after the lunch, requiring a liver transplant to survive. The trial began on April 29, 2025, at the Supreme Court of Victoria in Morwell. The prosecution, led by Nanette Rogers SC, argued that Erin had intentionally poisoned her guests. The defense, headed by Colin Mandy SC, maintained her innocence, claiming the poisonings were a tragic accident. A jury of 12 individuals was tasked with determining Erin's fate. The trial was a media sensation, with journalists and spectators from across the country flocking to the Morwell courthouse. Nanette Rogers SC, known for her sharp intellect, laid out the prosecution's case with chilling clarity. She argued that Erin Patterson had a motive for poisoning her guests, though the specifics were never publicly revealed. The prosecution presented evidence suggesting that Erin had purchased dried mushrooms from an Asian grocery store months prior to the lunch. This detail was presented as an indication of premeditation. Adding to the prosecution's argument was the discovery that Erin had used a food dehydrator in the days leading up to the lunch. The prosecution also pointed to the fact that Erin had disposed of the food dehydrator shortly after the lunch, a move they interpreted as an attempt to conceal evidence. The prosecution called upon a string of expert witnesses to bolster their case. Colin Mandy SC, known for his calm demeanor, presented a starkly different version of events. He argued that Erin Patterson, a mother herself, would never intentionally harm anyone, let alone her own family. Mandy emphasized that Erin had also eaten the beef Wellington, a detail the prosecution had presented as an attempt to deflect suspicion. He argued that if Erin had intended to poison her guests, she would not have risked her own life by consuming the deadly dish. The defense maintained that the poisonings were a tragic accident, a result of Erin mistaking the deathcap mushrooms for an edible variety. They challenged the prosecution's timeline, suggesting that the mushrooms purchased months prior could have been used for different meals. The defense also called upon their own set of expert witnesses to counter the prosecution's claims. The trial of Erin Patterson captivated the nation, sparking debates about guilt, innocence, and the consequences of a single meal. The jury deliberated for days, sifting through evidence and testimonies. Their verdict would decide Erin Patterson's fate and offer closure to a grieving community. A guilty verdict could mean life in prison. An acquittal, no clear answers for the victims' families. The trial reminded everyone of life's fragility. Leongatha, marked by tragedy, continues to heal, the mushroom mystery lingering.